Hey everyone, I'm Jack,
I'm Josh.
And I'm Kyle Raffi.
and today we're diving into one of the coolest processes happening inside your body right now, cellular respiration.
Think of your body like a superpowered car. You need fuel to go, right? Your fuel is the food you eat. But your cells need a way to turn that fuel into usable energy, right?
That's where cellular respiration comes in. It's a process cells use to break down glucose, a sugar from your food, to make the primary energy currency of the cell, ATP. Let's talk about that energy currency, ATP. The letters stand for adenosine triphosphate. Think of it as a charged battery. When a cell needs energy, it breaks off one of the three phosphate groups.
This releases energy, turning ATP into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, the uncharged battery. Cellular respiration's whole goal is to take that uncharged ADP and recharge it back into ATP.
Now, the overall formula for the whole process. It looks like a complex recipe. There's a glucose molecule plus 6 oxygen molecules produces 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules, and energy in the form of ATP.
Simple translation, we take glucose, the food, C6H12O6, and oxygen, 6O2, and we produce carbon dioxide, 6CO2, water, 6H2O, and a ton of ATP.
But where does this epic chemical reaction happen? The powerhouse of the cell, of course, the mitochondria.
These tiny organelles are the main site for the most ATP production. The mitochondria has two key membranes. The outer membrane is smooth, like the exterior wall of a factory.
The inner membrane is a cool part. It's superfolded into structures called cristae. These folds increase the surface area, which is perfect because the final, most productive step of respiration happens on these folds.
Space inside the inner membrane is called the matrix. It's kind of a dense liquid where the second stage of respiration takes place. Think of an inner membrane and matrix as the main factory floor. Cellular respiration has three main stages. Stage 1 is glycolysis. Glyco means sugar, and lysis means to split. So we're splitting sugar.
This happens outside the mitochondria, in the cell's cytoplasm. The reactant is glucose. We invest a little ATP to start. An enzyme like phosphofructokinase will do the rest.
Afterwards, the product is just two molecules of a compound called pyruvate, and a net gain of just 2 ATP. It's a small start, but essential.
Next up is the Krebs cycle, also known as the citric acid cycle. This is where things really get spinning. The pyruvate moves from the cytoplasm into the mitochondrial matrix.
The Krebs cycle's main function is to completely break down the remaining carbon atoms from the pyruvate and release them as carbon dioxide, the 6CO2 product from our formula.
This stage also makes a small amount of ATP, only 2 molecules, but its biggest product is energy-carrying molecules like NADH and FADH2. Think of them as taxis carrying excited electrons to the final stage. The final and most profitable stage is the electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. This happens on the folded inner mitochondrial membrane, the cristae.
This is where we use the oxygen reactant. The NADH and FADH2 taxis drop off their electrons. These electrons move down a chain of protein like a hot potato game.
As they move, they release energy, which is used to pump hydrogen ions. They build up a huge concentration gradient, like water behind a dam.
Finally, the hydrogen ions rush through an enzyme called ATP synthase. This rushing force is used to powerfully spin the enzyme, literally slamming ADP and a phosphate group together to create ATP.
This final stage produces around 32 to 34 ATP, and the final electron acceptor, the oxygen we breathe in, which then combines with the hydrogen to make our other product, water.
In total, one glucose molecule yields about 36 to 38 ATP. That's why we need oxygen as the final stop for those electrons.
What if there's no oxygen? That's where things get wild. When oxygen isn't present, the cells can't run the Krebs cycle or the electron transport chain. This is called anaerobic respiration or fermentation.
Fermentation is different because it only uses glycolysis to make a little ATP. It stops there and produces different byproducts to keep glycolysis running.
There are two main types, Lactic acid fermentation is what happens in your muscle cells when you're exercising intensely and can't get enough oxygen. It produces lactic acid.
The other is alcohol fermentation, used by yeast. It produces alcohols like ethanol and gases like carbon dioxide, which is why bread rises and beer is bubbly.
So from one sugar molecule, we go from glycolysis in the cytoplasm to the Krebs cycle in the mitochondrial matrix, and finish with a massive ATP payoff in the electron transport chain in the inner membrane.
Cellular respiration, turning the food that you eat into the energy you need to live, breathe, and think. Thanks for watching.